Hello and welcome. This is Chrisanne and I'm coming at you from Elemental Energies with Chrisanne. And today we are going to be doing doodling 13 ways. But we're not going to be doing the little doodles 13 ways. We're going to be doing 13 different types of backgrounds. In this video, I'm going to do another video on the actual doodles themselves, the actual little pictorial things. That's going to be a separate video. This video is all about 13 different ways that you can create these backgrounds for the doodles. Yes, I will be doodling on them, so you'll be seeing me doing some of the doodles, but we're going to do a whole separate video on just the actual little pictures. So I have 13 different ways that we are going to be doing these, and let's get started because it's going to be a long video. So we're going to keep this as our reference to use to draw some of the little flowers and doodles, and I have other things like butterflies and stuff too. So I have created just these simple, I got stuff all over my hands. I have created these simple pieces of paper. How big are these? I don't even know. Just to let you know, 5.5 by 2.5. And I'm going to create on these some of the backgrounds. And then once we create the backgrounds or they dry, depending on what the case is, we are going to come back and we're going to doodle on them. In future videos, I am going to be using these as decoration for the different tchotchkes that we make for our journals. So this is going to be multiple video thing. So let's get started. I am going to do this one first just because we need to let it dry. One of the ways that I like to create backgrounds for my doodles is with acrylic paint. So let's get this cracking. And I love to paint with my fingers, as you can tell. So I am going to create approximately 3 blobs per paper. 3 different types of things that we can doodle on per paper. This one is a little bigger than I wanted, but that's okay. It's going to make a great background. You know, acrylic paint has a little body to it. It has a little texture to it. You can use any color you want. This is the first one I grabbed. I'm not a pink person, but this is the first one that I grabbed. Now, you can do any shape you want for these backgrounds behind these doodles. I'm doing sort of a square, rectangle kind of shape. Just for this particular one, I am going to kind of shake it up and do some different shapes for some of the other ones. I'm doing this one first because I would like to set it aside and let this one dry. Acrylic paint has a little bit of a dry time. It is not instantaneous. Now, I tried to not have raised streaks. This one's starting to dry quickly. So I'm just using simple Craft Smart acrylic paint. That's all I'm using. And I'm going to take a piece of book page to wipe my finger because I can use this in a future project as well with a little bit of color on it. So you're going to see me doing that throughout the video as well. I'm going to set this aside and we're going to let this one dry. The next one that I'd like to work on to create a background because it has to dry is another paint. This one is watercolor paint. Once I get this one started, then I want to talk about what I'm going to be doodling with. Let me grab my watercolors. I have 2 types of watercolors that I pulled out. I have my metallic shimmer watercolors, and then these are also metallic. So these I got on Temu, so you can get things cheap. This one I got on Amazon. These are metallic as well. This is what I used to create this one. I don't know if you can see the shimmer in that. Can you see the shimmer in that? There is a little bit of shimmer in that. And so, you know what? Let's go ahead and use this little one now that I pulled the big one out. Let's use this little one. And, you know, let's do some of this like bronzy gold kind of color. How does this? There it is. Now, the other things that I have here, I have a whole bunch of my water brushes. These are, if you're not familiar, most people are familiar with these, but they're there's a hole in these, so it can hold water. So you can always keep water in these. And in order to get the water flowing, there's a little spot here and it says push. And you can just push on that and the water, there it is. The water comes through the bristles. And when the water comes through the bristles, you can squeeze. I'm squeezing this so water comes out and activates this, and I stopped squeezing now. When we're using watercolors, they need to be activated by water. This is going to be wet. This is going to take some time to dry. So let's come over here. I am using one that has a nice flat bristled brush. It works perfect for something like this where I'm just doing sort of simple rectangles. And I can just use the natural chisel of this brush end. And I'm just laying some paint down. Like I said, I'm doing 3 blobs per color technique. This is color technique number 2. I'm completely going out of my order that I have everything written in because these need to dry before we can actually doodle on these. And we will be actually doodling. Before we can doodle on these, they need to dry. Watercolor actually takes a little bit longer to dry than the acrylic paint, believe it or not. Okay, I'm good with that. And you can see, look at how pretty that is. The shimmer of that is really, really nice. Let's move these. I'm going to put the lid on this. Actually, let me just wipe this off on this same book page that I have going over here. That's going to be all pretty and colorful by the time I'm done with that. So I'm going to take this, leave this aside. Okay, let's keep working on some of the others. But before we do that, I want to talk about what I have for doodling. I have different types of pens here. This is the Master's Touch graphic illustration markers, pigment ink. There's 5 of them. This is the Hobby Lobby ones. You can get all different, sorry, Mitchie. You can get all different types of markers. I have the microns here somewhere too. I didn't grab those out, but this is the cheaper version of the micron marker, and it tells you how thick everything is on the inside, and these work beautifully. The other marker that I am loving is this that I got on Temu. I don't know what to call it. Go under pens and look for the ones with the cat heads. These are phenomenal markers. They're a marker, they're a pen, they're like a biro. I don't know what to call these. But this is what I did all of these with, was this. They come in all different colors, the pens itself, but the ink is black. I'm telling you, they come in a, I think it's a package of either 5 or 6 on Temu. It's not just one, it's like 5 or 6. And I on one order, I think I got them for like 99 cents for all of them. And then another time I went back and ordered and it was like a couple dollars for the bundle. It's well worth it. I've ordered it like 3, maybe even 4 times at this point. They're wonderful. I can't even say enough about them. I do like the microns. The microns are sort of like top of the line. These are very good too. At the time, I paid $7.99, but I didn't pay $7.99 because they were like 40 or something % off of that at Hobby Lobby. So watch for your sales. So those are sort of my price points for my doodling tools that I am using. And like I said, I did all this with the Temu one. Okay, let's get back to my list. So another way that I can create my backgrounds, and I have to get it here from my pile of goodies. Where'd it go? It was right here. Let's grab this. Let's grab this. Is using a rubber stamp. You need a solid rubber stamp. So this is the rubber stamp that I'm using, and you can sort of see it's a solid rubber stamp. That is this. That's how I did this. Believe it or not, in this set, it's the toast. It's the avocado toast set. I got this on Temu too. Oh, whoops. A long time ago. I have no clue, but I thought it was really cute. My son teases me about avocado toast, so I was going to make some cards for him with this, or a card for him with this. But it's the toast. I'm using the toast. So see what you have in your stash. See what you have. And this is the O2 Ink Golden Grain by Alina Craft Create, also called Alina Cuddle, on Temu, on Amazon, on everything. She's everywhere. So like I said, I want to do 3 of these. So we're going to do 1 here in the middle. You just want a solid stamp. This is a super easy way to do this and create some really pretty effective backgrounds. I like having the model effect on some of them, and you can see like some of these are modeled, some of these are a little more solid. I like that. So rubber stamp, one of the ways that you can use to have a background. I'm going to let that dry just 2 seconds while we talk about the next one. And then after this one, we are going to get to actually doing some of these. My next idea is an ink cube. Let's use this one. Take an ink cube, peacock feathers, which I love. This is Tim Holtz Ranger Distress ink. If you don't have a stamp, take your ink cube. Look at that. How cool of a background is that? Instant, quick, easy. You don't need really any other supplies. Super, super simple. So we've already got 4 on our list. So we've got, whoops, which I just dropped. We've got the rubber stamp. We've got the ink cube. We've got watercolor, acrylic paint. Yeah, that one's dry. We're going to get cracking on this one. So let's do some little doodles. I will use both of these pens throughout this video. For right now, I'm going to do the 0.3, which looks like that's kind of medium. So since these are pink, let's do some flowers. So let's do a really simple straight line. Let's do a dot a little bit above the line. And let's do some sort of free-floating petals. I try and keep things symmetrical. So you'll notice that I'll work here, then I'll work here, then I'll work here, then I'll work here, then I'll work here. For me, that's how I like to work to keep things symmetrical. I can come in and I can add a non-symmetrical leaf on that flower if I would like. Let's create, let's do another flower here. I really like this flower. It's so simple. It's a solid dot. And then it's a circle. And then you can come in and do some solid leaves. You want to think very folk art. You want to think very simplistic, very folk art. Now, if I wanted to come in and just sort of decorate around this a little bit, I can. If I wanted to come in and do some dots around that, I can. You can jazz it up as much as you want or as little as you want. Next thing I want to do is, I know this is pink, but let's do a leaf. And I like these really simple, there's my stomach talking to us, really simple, effective leaves. Now look at that. Super, super simple. I like to come in with some dots. Very easy. Now, on another video at another time, we're going to come in and we're going to cut these apart and we're going to use these as decorations on all the different things that we make for the journals. But here's one done. Well, 3 actually. You can use it like this if you want. You can create a pocket, and this whole thing could be a pocket. Let's move on to some of our other ones. This is the watercolor one. Is that dry? Let me give that a couple more seconds. Let's move on to the rubber stamped one and the ink cube one. Now, don't think that you just have to keep everything inside the thing that you've created as your background. You can come outside your background. And you can add these simple loops. So you're using the space. This little background is just one little teeny tiny part of what you're using. Let's see. Let's do, well, we'll do one inside the circle. And I just do a line with a spiral. And then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to create my leaf and do a spiral to create my leaf. I like that one. I was sitting here and I was playing with my spirals and I'm like, oh, I can do a flower with spirals. Let me do a flower with spirals. And then likewise, if all you wanted to do was a spiral, and then do some dots. You can just do that. I like spirals. I kind of have fun with them. Another one done. Let's put that over there. Let's work on this one. Let's do this line with a solid, and then let's do some loopy kind of flowers, petals, and we can take that up 2, 3, 4. I normally like odd numbers, but it is what it is. Super simple. All of these are super simple. That's what I like about them, is they're very easy. Let's do a line down, and then let's do a larger line up, and then let's keep gradually bringing that in. And this kind of looks like a pine tree, or it looks like a funky leaf. I like to turn things as I work on them. Very graduated with the lines. So it kind of looks like a leaf. It kind of looks like a funky tree. You call it what you want to call it. Let's see. Let's do a line, another line, another line. And, you know, keep it moving. Keep your lines going in multiple directions. And let's just do dots. Big circly dots right at the top of these. Simple. Super simple. Okay, that one's done. Okay, let's do our watercolor. Still, we'll do this one first. This one's not as damp. Let's do, we're going to do another leaf, and we're going to do a leaf within a leaf. Just do a line down, and there's our stem. You can come in and do that. Very folk art. That's what I think of in my head. I know it's hard to see with that shimmer. I think very folk art when I'm creating these. Let's do this one. We'll do like an open U, and then we'll do smaller U's coming in. And then let's do some of those open dots, circles. And then let's do the very tiny, that sort of juxtaposition with the large, with the tiny. I kind of messed up a little bit there, but you get the idea. I like mixing that sort of exaggerated size with the little teeny tiny size. I know it's hard to see it with that funky color there. And then this one, let's do something a little bit different. Can do a dragonfly just by doing circle, 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 circles, loop, 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 loop. A very simplistic dragonfly. Another one done. Okay, let's move on. The other ones that I want to do, let me grab, I have some of them as samples here, some of them I don't. This one, it's woodless colored pencils. So let me grab that. Oh, here they are. I know I had them over here. So if you see all my Temu videos, you see that I had purchased this bag a long time ago for my colored pencils. And this was one of the sets that I wanted. And it was this one that I did. These are woodless pencils. Let's see what they are. Progresso. I've had them a long time. It says they're Czech. Maybe from the Czech Republic. I don't know. Czechoslovakia. This one's dark violet. But it's a woodless colored pencil. So it's just giving you the idea of using colored pencils, different types. Now, I'm going to do this very different. So let's do this almost painterly. We're going to do some in this direction. We're going to do some in this direction, and this is woodless. So It all kind of colors. Just make this one a little bit bigger. Very sort of painterly, very broad, not very sort of neat and put together. Very artistic for this one. I'm going to come in with this pen this time. And since these are very artsy, let's do something very sort of free on these. So let's do sort of a candy cane, a loop, a loop, a loop, a loop. This is sort of like that lily of the valley looking shape. And then I can do a line going right up. So very loose in the background with sort of a loose lily of the valley with it. Let's do another one that's sort of bolder. Kind of bring that up. And like I said, we're going to do a video on the actual doodles themselves. They don't have to be actual flowers that you go out and see every day. Very loose on that one too. This is easy to draw over, this type of woodless pencil. So woodless colored pencil, done. Next one is, this keeps rolling around. I want to do the Distress, if I can find it. I have a whole bunch here. There we go. Tim Holtz Distress Crayon. Something else that I'm going to have to let dry. But that's okay. Distress crayons can be used a couple of different ways. I'm going to use Merry Mint. Now, when you're using these, you can smudge them with your finger, or you can turn them into watercolor. We are going to do a different shape. We're going to do an oval. They don't all have to be squares or rectangles. They could be extremely abstract. I don't even have to fully color all this in, because once again, this is going to be something that I view as kind of painterly as well. Whoops, dropping everything. So for this one, I'm going to come in with my finger. And I'm going to kind of smudge it around. So here's one I didn't smudge. Here's one I did smudge. I'm smudging them, and then I'm going to come in. I have another water paint. See, it gets all over me. There's what? Oh, let me get this one started. There we go. That one's already started. I did it on my finger. So I can come in with this and look at. Just simple water on the distressed crayon. And I'm going to let this one dry for a couple of minutes after we create it, so we can move on to a couple other different techniques. Like I said, I have 13 techniques to create backgrounds, to do all these fun little doodles. I don't know about you, but I really do like to do doodling, and I like to have very artistic things within my journals. It makes it personalized. It makes it, I don't know, unique. Okay, I'm happy with that. I can clean this off. And the way you clean these off is if you can just give it a squeeze and just kind of swish it around. Not too bad there. So that's what these look like now. Very sort of painterly, artistic kind of looking. I'm going to put that aside to let that dry. And then I'm going to move this out of my way. And we are going to move on to the next one that does not have to dry. And that one is using washi as your background. And we're not going to do a whole bunch of these. We're probably just going to do one or two of these. But you can use washi in the tape, or I have this book that has washi stickers in it. So if you're unfamiliar, washi tape is a low-tack tape, and it's kind of like a see-through. So I'm going to put that here. I don't know how many of sort of that configuration I have here. You know what? We're going to do some stuff on this one. Let's see if we have a small one that we can sort of draw on. Oh, the tag. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Okay. So there's my washi. Oh, and let me show you the book. It's from that book. I got this on Temu a long time ago. I have seen it on Amazon as well. So to create things on the washi, they are pushed down. If you find your edges of the washi not fully sticking, then come in with a little bit of tape. So for these, let's see. I'm going to start with the tag, actually. And I'm going to start at the bottom. I'm going to give it movement. When I create something that's curved, I feel like it's giving movement to my piece, giving movement to what I'm doing. And this is just going to be sort of a artistic rendition of a fern. And I'm getting bigger with my fern fronds as I move down the fern. Super simple. All of them are simple. That's why I do them. It's because they're simple. Let's see. What do I want to do here? Let's just do a huge leaf, kind of like we did for the other one. And then let's just do little tiny lines for the veins offset on this one. And let's give it a little bit of a stem and some little dots. I'm a fan of dots. There. And then this one's a lot smaller. So let's see what we can do. How about we do some ferns kind of working its way across this one. Fern-ish. There. And you know what? Let's give this end the same end as the other end, kind of. There we go. Washi as your background. Super simple. And that was the one that I did sort of as my demo. So let's add that to the pile. The next one, let's see, I have a whole list here. Marker. Now, I have two different types of marker. Here we go. So the first marker is this. I think this is Faber-Castell. It is. It's a Faber-Castell marker. It's got a brush tip to it. This one's a little bit older, so we're just gonna kind of hope it kind of works with us here. With marker, you can kind of build it up. I'm going to create different shapes. I can leave it very painterly. I can come back and color it in. There's that one. And you know what? Let's just create a very abstract shape, which is going to be more difficult to color in. So just creating marker as your background. Easy peasy. There. And then let's come in, and I'm trying to think what we're going to do here. Let's, on this one, I kind of like these flowers that kind of come off the edge of what it is that we've created. There. This one, let's do this type again with that sort of free-floating petals. And we're not going to give it any leaves. And I'm just doing simple little cascading circles here. And then let's give sort of broader leaves. Very, very, very simple. So that's marker. Okay. What was I doing? Oh, yes. I have the... oh, that's pretty dry. This is, let's come back to the Tim Holtz Distress crayon. And, you know, I kind of like this one that sort of looks like that funky tree with the ones that just get smaller as we go up. And I am touching the one on the other side to kind of keep it sort of even in parallel. For this one, let's just do some of these circles. And then let's do a giant leaf. And you know what? We need one right up here. Simple, simple. And then let's just do another giant leaf. I'm going to switch to this. This one's a little bolder of a tip on this particular one. Let's sort of ground that leaf a little bit. And I offset the veining on that one too. So that one's the Distress Crayon background. Okay. So I'm going through my list. So we have, let me put these in order of my list. We have the rubber stamp background. We have the ink cube. We have the woodless color pencil. We have the watercolor. We have the Distress Crayon. We have the washi. We have the marker. Now we have the paint. And then we have another water one. Next one, we have the Distress watercolor pencils. Now these are cool. You get them wet and they're kind of watercolory. I have an example. There, that's my example. That's, I think this color, as a matter of fact. Or is it, I don't know. It's either this color or that color. And I had a little bit of water on my paintbrush when I did that. So this is the Distress watercolor crayon, or pencil, sorry. And then let's just do this 2 different ways. So we're going to put that down like that. Where's my... Oh, here it is. So we're going to put this down on the paper. Then I'm going to come in with my flat tipped water. See, I have another color in it. That's okay. And you see, see how it does that? Isn't that beautiful? The other way you can do it is put water on this directly. Make a puddle of water. And then I'm just rolling this in the water. And you see it gives it a very different look by dipping the tip in water. You know, when I first got these, I was like, I'm not whacked about them. But I think the more I play with them and the more I get, I don't know, creative with them, the sort of more open I am to using them. So, you know, play around with all your different tools and see what works for you. Okay, we're going to let that one dry. A lot of these things we have to let dry. This is the Distress watercolor pencil, Tim Holtz. So I'm going to let this one dry. Next one. This was one that was falling. Let me see where I put it because it fell. Oh, here it is. Okay. This is my ink sponge. I know I'm pulling out a lot of pink things. I'm not really pink, but I'm pulling out pink things. So this is my VersaFine Claire Purple Delight. Technically it's purple, but it looks pink to me. Unless I grabbed the wrong one. Did I grab the wrong one? So I'm inking up my sponge. It's a makeup sponge that I have no idea how to use for makeup. Look at those beautiful circles. How simple was that one? Simple, simple, simple. This I'm calling the ink sponge technique. Okay, let me put this one out of my way. I'm going to give that just a couple minutes to dry because there's a lot of ink on that. And while I'm doing that, we're going to come in with one of my other fun things that I like to work with, that I always get covered when I work with these, because once again, I use my fingers. Pastels. So these are my pan pastels. I have a couple different pastels in here, but mostly this is my box of pan pastels. You can use any chalk pastel that you have. In my opinion, pan pastels are the best pastel on the market. The most expensive. This one I got on Temu. It's loose. It's more of a loose powdered one. I think I'm going to use that one with probably like polymer clay or something. These are solid. I like to get the ones that are in this configuration. You can get them like flat in a palette. And then you get like at the bottom, they come with different applicators, but I have my own applicators. So pastels are wonderful because you can paint with them with a paintbrush. You can use a sponge applicator. Oh, I forgot I had water up there. All right, let me just clean that off, and we won't use that one. So you can use a paintbrush with these. You can use a sponge with these. You can use one of these water things with these. I use my fingers. It's almost a creamy consistency to the pan pastels. It's a wonderful, wonderful product. I primarily use pan pastels to paint my polymer clay. And it holds beautifully to raw clay. And that's what I like about it. That's how I get a lot of... Cassie, you got to sit down. Cassie, sit down. Ay, ay, ay. Just bonging my pile of stuff. So pan pastels are very versatile. Obviously, you can use them on paper, but they're an investment. This is probably the most expensive thing out of any of them that we're using. Just so you know. They're borderline ridiculously expensive. But I have to tell you, the quality that I get, especially on my polymer clay, is just stunning. Absolutely stunning. So let's draw some very loose kind of flower petals, different sizes. And I'm going to come in and do some in between. It's almost poinsettia looking, especially with this color. And then I'm going to come in and do some bold dots in the center, like the flower on a poinsettia. These are the leaves of the poinsettia. And let's see what we're going to do on these. You know what? I do like my swirl. Gonna do that. And then let's see, what should we do over here? So many possibilities. There. Kind of like a funky tree. pan pastels. I'm loving it. Let's come back to the distress, and I'm still a little damp. How about my ink? Okay, we're going to do the ink. This one's a great color for flowers. And let's do that. 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what? Let's do 6. 6. And we'll do some dots here. There. I like the shape that this one is in as well. Let's do this, and let's do some dots with some dots in between, and we'll sort of graduate these dots. And we'll give that a huge leaf right there. Sometimes you just need one leaf. And you can certainly do a gigantic leaf with an oval swirl. And then maybe some dots. That is the ink sponge. This one is the Distress. Oh, yeah, the Distress watercolor pencil. This one needs a leaf. Let's see what this one needs. You know, I kind of like that Lily of the Valley kind of looking one. Very sort of abstract-y Lily of the Valley. So that's what we have so far. And let's do a bold fern. For me, it's easier to turn my paper sometimes. I can just get the angle a little bit better. Now, I'm not coloring these in 100%. That one's a lot bolder than some of the other ones. Watercolor Distress pencils. Okay, what do we have next? Okay, I have 2 biggies left. The next one, where did I put it? I have like a whole pile of stuff here. Okay, the next one. Oh gosh, where's my, oh, here it is. Okay, the next one I have to wear a mask for. I have my respirator mask here, but I also have this mask, so I'm going to try and do it quickly with this mask. So this is a alcohol ink marker. I am highly allergic to the smell of alcohol, but it looks so pretty. I used to use these all the time before I became allergic. So here's the deal. I'm going to put my mask on. If I need to put my respirator mask on, it's right here. I'm going to do these backgrounds. Once I'm done doing these backgrounds, I'm going to take this piece of paper. I'm going to put it over there to dry away from me. I'm still going to leave the mask on, and then we're going to move on to the next one. Okay? Okay, my mask is on. We are going to go quickly with this, and we're going to go very painterly. This is an alcohol ink marker, and alcohol ink markers, the more you go over them and layer them, the really cool effects that you can get. We are going to put that one way over there. I do need to still leave my mask on. Woo! That's strong. Okay, give me a minute. Okay. Woo. Next one that we're doing is a gel press. And I have these little teeny tiny gel press plates. Say that 3 times. Whew. Especially while you're breathing things you're not supposed to be breathing. Whoa. It's strong. I need to grab my ink block for my stamping. And I am going to take this gel press and I'm going to put it on my ink block. Woo! That sucker's strong. Okay, next thing I have is my brayer for an ink pad. Where is... Oh, let's do this one. Oh, I don't want that color. I'm using kind of lighter colors-ish. We're going to use Mermaid. This is by Lavinia Stamps, The Elements. And I'm just going to ink up my brayer. And then I'm going to ink up my gel plate. And I can come here. And I can stamp that down. Now the other thing that I can do is I can ink this up. Ink that up. I'm only going to do 2 on this one. Where did that go? I had it here. Oh, Cassie moved it. Cassie. You put it, here it is. Oh, I have my, let's see, which one has the, there it is. This is, oh, yeah, I don't do well with alcohol. I normally only use something like that outside. Where is my paintbrush? All right. We're going to do this paintbrush. This isn't the one I wanted, but it's the one we got. So we will dip this in this watercolor here. I'm going to tap it onto my gel plate, which is already inked with the Lavinia Stamps stamp pad. Put that over there. Put the lid on this. Get it out of Cassie's way. And I want to just come in and remove that off the stamp block. So you can see we have ink and we have the watercolor. There. Wait till you see the difference. It's so cool. How neat is that? Plain ink put on with a brayer onto the gel press. Ink with watercolor put onto the gel press. I'm a fan of this one, obviously. I think it's really funky. It's really modeled. It's really cool looking. All right, let's let this dry while I bring back this one, which I like it. I think it's pretty. I'm just going to put this over here. So let's do some simple little daisies. So there's that. Let's do some bolder daisy looking kind of thing. And then let's do the joys of having allergies. I would love to use these markers more, and I can't. Don't forget, when we're doodling, we can still doodle things like hearts. So we're going to put that one over there. Let me see if I can take my mask off. Yeah, I'm good. I have allergy medicine here. Anything that has alcohol in it, the smell makes me go into anaphylaxis. I also have Eppies right here too. You know what? I want to use these kind of in this fashion. And I want to, you know what? I want to use a bolder one. This one's bolder because this is a dark color. And I'm doing one of those sort of funky tree shape ones. You can kind of go over it twice if you think you need to. Just so you know, I don't do a lot of artwork with alcohol stuff. So don't give me messages on it. Unless I'm outside, because it's not worth my allergies. But I thought it would be fun for this project. You know what? For this one, let's do some little decorations going all the way around the perimeter of this shape as a doodle. And I'm just doing squiggles and circles. So squiggles and circles all around. And then inside the teardrop, let's do a giant flower. And we're going to do a nice bold center. There. Okay. Awesome. Let me close this up. Move this. Let's see what we got. Let me put these somewhat in order. I want to make sure I have 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Should be 13. So let me put these here. I don't know if these are in the right order, but let me count them and make sure I have 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Perfect. All right, let's go through. Rubber stamped background. Ink cube background. Woodless colored pencil, very artsy background. / let your kids make it for you. Watercolor background. I like that bold one. Distress crayon background. Washi background. Regular marker background. Paint. This is acrylic paint background. This one is the pastels background. This one is the ink sponge background. The distress watercolor pencil background. This is the gel press and watercolor background. And the alcohol ink background. Let me know which one's your favorite. I'm kind of a fan of this one, but I don't know. There's quite a few here I like a lot. They're all so pretty and they're all so different. And I see possibilities really, truly for all of them. So let me know. Leave me a comment. Let me know which one is your favorite. There's 13 of them here, so there's something to pick from for everybody. Please subscribe to my channel. That would help me out immensely. And like I said, in another video, we're going to talk about the actual doodling. So that will be a completely different video for another time. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Chris Ann. Take care and be free.